Hi, everybody. We're going to start our next session with everyone from the back. Like to come and sit down.
Hi, Ibar. I'm just going to introduce you, then you can start. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, everyone from the back. Please come forward and take a seat. We're going to start soon. Volunteers pun boleh can come. Thank you. All right. So we are almost at the end of our day 3. So welcome to day 3 of Journey to End our plastic Journey to End Plastic Pollution. Today we will have Ibar from Greenpeace Indonesia. He is our corporate plastic campaign project leader. And he is going to talk to you a little bit about his work and in terms of plastic, some success stories, challenges, and whatnot. Okay, Ibar,
You'll be able to start now.
Thank you, Hema, and hello, everyone. Thank you for having me in this session. I will have to share our work in Indonesia regarding the plastic campaign, especially on corporate campaign and the sunset itself. I would like to share screen here. Wait. Yeah. The plastic campaign in Greenpeace Indonesia starting in 2018, and then the first one is we doing some activity, especially on the awareness and then how that the plastic polluting in our environment. We're starting on the brand audits. It's a movement that bring with the briefing from plastic is in 2018, and then after it's been already 6 years, and then in this early year in 2024 we're focusing on the brand out on sachet. We highlighting the sachet that packaging in our life, the polluting in across Southeast Asia, also in South Asia. In 2024, we already we have a sachet ban audit focus in 4 countries: Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, and India. In this year, that we focusing on the sachet in not only just by the brand and the producer, not only just only for the type of plastic, but also for the type or the size of the sachet itself. This is our way to educate and also to engage our audience, our society, the youth, to see that the sachet and other plastic have responsibility belongs to the producers, and also the way us to educate that not all the plastic can be recycled, not all the plastic can be degradable, and so on so forth, because they are calculating how many producer, how many plastic they collect, and so on so forth, and they can see in the end which brand or which producer have polluting our environment. And the good thing or the interesting thing in brand audit, sometimes we found some old packaging, like we found some packaging from 90s or 80s. It's like we found some fossil in the plastic. But also in Indonesia, we have some coalition and movement. Especially, we have a plastic-free parade movement established in 2019. Consists of 10 organizations, including Greenpeace. Since then, we engaging more society, more communities. In this movement, we aim to push the government to regulate more sustainable waste management, and also push the government to banning single-use packaging on plastic, and also push corporate responsibility on sachet on other packaging, especially for FMCGs. It's been 5 years. We this movement engaging people, engaging communities. That's in every July, and then this is three, because we already facing COVID, so we don't have marching. But every time we marching, we engage with more people and hundreds people and communities. And then in the last year, in this year, we try to something different with our movement. We don't doing a long march or something like that, but we doing some plastic-free picnic. In these activities, we want to introduce the reuse system, that everyone can bring their own packaging, tumbler, and food packaging, and we provide some free snack and free meals to the audience who come, because in this activity we have a board game, workshop, and discussion. But also want to emphasize that we are as community can develop our reuse system, that we can refill by ourselves and reuse our packaging itself. So it will be pushed for the government and producer that they have the resource, so they can implement the reuse system itself. In this activity, we engage more to about 200 people comes, and then we're talking about the plastic issue from the beginning, between plastic and petrokimia, and how the impact on the climate, also the impact of the plastic and the community and the health itself. It's been more engaging with the people, because people see the contents, the people see how the solution will be displayed. But also Greenpeace Indonesia focusing on the corporate campaign, that we want to them as FMCGs in this campaign as manufacturer, to reduce their plastic packaging, especially sachet, but also change their distribution system from single-use packaging into the reuse system. Like in this year, in July, we have direct comes into the Unilever. We bring back or sending back their sachet packaging in front of their office in the IGM event, and then we met Unilever as representative, and then we talk with them that they are still polluting their sachet into our environment, but they also campaigning in the marketing and the advertising that they are clean, they are more aware, but also in the reality, the sachet still polluting. This is our action, that we want to push them to be more transparent on waste reduction roadmap, since our government have a regulation on passing out sachet, and then the reduction waste into of the packaging. So after 5 years, they didn't have a transparency on the Unilever Western Europe. So we want to meet them and then uh, told them that they should transparent and then how their commitment on reduction. This is overall of Greenpeace Indonesia work in Indonesia. First, we want to engage more people and community so that not only Greenpeace as the actor who want to push the government and also push the corporate in Indonesia, but also we want to engage more community and people that with us. So not only not only Greenpeace but also all the society. And also we want to push that manufacture right now. We're focusing on the FMCGs. They should transparent on the waste reduction roadmap based on regulation. Right now, only 20 manufacturer FMCGs who submitted their waste reduction roadmap to the government from 5,000 producer. So it's been late and then slow progress from the manufacturer because the regulation targeted that 30% reduction in 2029, and then only 20 who submitted, but only 13 who implement the pilot project of the waste reduction. So right now, Greenpeace want to engage people and society to push them to be more transparent, realistic, and progressive on their reduction plastic. I think that's from me. I can stop it right now.
Thank you so much, Ibar. Does anybody here have any questions for Ibar? No? All right, Ibar, I have a question for you. What is your biggest challenge when running your campaign?
The biggest challenge is well, first of all, when we talking about the waste reduction roadmap, the regulation from Minister of Environment 2019 number 75. In this regulation, the manufacturer should sending their waste reduction roadmap in 10 years. We asked the government to see the inside of the document, but the government refused, and they said just ask the producer. And then when we asked the producer, in this case manufacturer, the manufacturer said, well, it's classified, so ask the government. So between government, between producer, they don't have one to transparent. That's the challenge of when we're talking about when we're facing it. So right now we want to push government and want to push the producer, but also we want to engage not only Greenpeace itself, but also in Indonesia, there is a big narration from the industry that they are focusing on recycling. They said the recycling is their only way. They said the microplastic is not dangerous. So we face so it's hard to have a face-to-face narration in the battle. So that's the challenge. So that's why we need more people and society and also community, not only Greenpeace but also as a movement to challenge the narration and also this kind of let's say that they want the government didn't want to be responsible and the person didn't want to be responsible. I think that's it for me, Emma.
Thank you, Ibar. Can everybody just, oh yeah, sorry. We have another question.
Yeah, just so in your presentation, you showed that like there was like I guess a march, and then you have sent stuff to Unilever, and then so after all that is done, like what is the outcome or what happened after that? Could you just elaborate a bit more? Thank you.
Well, when so there's the context and the history of the Unilever campaign. In 2022, I think we want to have a public discussion and invite Unilever, Danone, and other companies to come public discussion. to talk their waste reduction roadmap, but they refuse. And then we already email them, contact them, but they refuse. But in this year, when they have AGM and when we talk to them, email to the union representative, we want to come in your event to talk with you, and then suddenly they reply our message and they welcome us. So that's, I think, that the progress we made. And then when after, but they refuse to talk with us inside with media. So we talk with them in outside the building. And then in this discussion with Unilever, they said they have a challenge. They have program on collecting sachet between West Bank and other small society communities, but they say it's hard engaging with small communities. So they have need to be engaging with the middleman. And then we said Creasoft is broken, is not working, and they said they still have a product of recycling facilities. And then after that, they promised us that they want to talk about West Radisson roadmap in the public with media. So that the promise we want to try to push again in this year or next year, but also we want to put other industry like Danone or some manufacturer. So it will be fair that all the producer will talk about waste reduction. So that's the outcome with after the Unilever and the engaging with the plastic free period movement. I think that's it.
Thank you. Anyone else with questions? All right, thank you, Ibar, for coming today, and I don't know whether you can hear me, and I'm going to do this very last minute. Everybody just give a round of applause for Ibar. Thank you. Bye. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, our next speaker will be Eunille Santos from Greenpeace Philippines. And he's going to be speaking a little bit about he's a digital campaigner, and he's speaking on behalf of Marianne, one of our very dear colleagues. And he will be speaking a little bit about the refill and reuse program in Philippines. Thank you. You can start, Eunille.
Hello, thank you, and good evening, everyone. Let me just share my screen. Sorry, can I just get a quick confirmation that what you're seeing is the presentation mode?
Yep.
Cool. Thank you. You might see my notes. But anyway, good evening again. I'm Neil, digital campaigner and the communications lead of the Plastic Free Future campaign of the Philippine office. This evening, I will share to you one of the projects that we're working in the Philippine office, which is essentially mainstreaming reuse and refill systems in the country. It's called Kuha sa Tingi. It's inspired by the famous Philippine phrase or slogan, makuha ka sa tingin, which implies like a nonverbal warning or instruction. Usually, like when you look at someone, they should be able to understand what you mean. And then we just substituted tingin, which means look, to tingi, which means small volume or small quantity. So it's like getting products or commodities in small quantities. So essentially, the project wants to bring back sustainability into Filipino tingi culture. And it's a project between Greenpeace Philippines, the local government of Quezon City and San Juan City, and Innovation Catalyst. So Kuha sa Tinge integrates refilling stations in community-based stores called sari-sari stores and other small retail shops all over the country. So essentially what we did was have this very simple and accessible refilling dispensers in community stores. Essentially, like these are stores that can be found in virtually every cities and every communities in the Philippines. So what is that? What it does, it's a refilling project. We wanted to bring back sustainability into the Filipino tingi culture or the small volume culture, which corporations co-opted for a sachet-driven economy. So maybe just a brief history lesson. The Philippines is inherently sustainable. So my parents and my grandparents used to tell me that whenever they buy commodities, milk, cooking oil, condiments, and other products, they would usually have their own containers, usually glass containers, and then they bring it to the stores, have the products refilled, and then take it home. That was back in what, 1970s or 1980s. In fact, I think when Coca-Cola even started in the Philippines, they have these glass bottles instead of plastic bottles, wherein people would just buy the glass bottles in community stores. And then once they finish their Coca-Cola, they would return it back, the glass bottle to the community store. But, you know, as plastic, single-use plastic was invented in the 70s and in the 80s, in the guise of affordability, convenience, and accessibility. Eventually, the tingi culture of the Philippines was hijacked into becoming a sachet-driven economy. So right now, and unfortunately, there are around 164 million sachets being used and disposed on a daily basis in the country. So that's quite a huge number. And that's also because the absence of policies and regulations on single-use plastic production. So the Kuha sa Tinge refilling project started with just 40 stores in San Juan and in Quezon City. But through the support of the local government and through the positive reception of our partner stores and as well as the local government units, we were able to expand initially to 1,200 community stores in Metro Manila. I believe this number already increased as we're getting more inquiries from various local government units around the country. So our aim is to provide people with simple, affordable, and accessible alternatives to sachets. And ultimately, we want to demonstrate to companies that refilling is a viable model and has positive impacts. On the next slides, you'll be able to see what the results are of this project. And for Kuha sa Tinge, we're not aiming to come up with an income-generating project. This is not in any way get funds for the organization, but we want to create a model that will prove the feasibility of a refilling model. So we publish a report, the image that you saw on the first slide, which local government units, micro, small, and medium enterprises, or even corporations can take inspiration from when they want to switch to a refilling model. And you can download the report using this QR code or by going to the URL act.gp/reuse-refill. Now, how we actually started with the project is we conducted a market research. It's a nationwide audience research which had 27 focus group discussion participants and 750 survey respondents from 4 cities, from 4 key cities nationwide. So the respondents said that they wanted to help solve plastic pollution, but also had concerns about alternatives because we have this idea or perception that sustainable alternatives are much more expensive than their plastic counterparts. And then it's time consuming because you have to go to a specialty store in a mall or probably in a far away from your home, and it's less convenient and less accessible. And then the market research data that we were able to gather help develop the model by informing us about the consumers, their needs, and what to prioritize. So we didn't want to go blindly when establishing this project. So we really wanted to understand how the consumer behaves when it comes to sustainability and when it comes to their consumption patterns to plastic packaged products. So we found out that they are purchasing plastic packaged products because of its affordable pricing, simplicity for time and convenience considerations, and accessibility. So the simplicity aspect was also the inspiration why this type of dispenser. It's very simple, wherein you just pump and then you get the product out from the dispenser pumps, because the consumers or the respondents said that they want something simple. They didn't want something high tech. They don't want to have a sharp learning curve and make it just easier for everyone to use, even the customers. So that's why the design of the dispenser is very simple. So, and here are actual responses from our respondents. So a Gen Z respondent said that we really do not have a choice because even the smallest things are made of plastic. And that's also a sad reality for a developing country like the Philippines, where majority of the people are living below the poverty line. So, and they can only afford sachet products, for example, because of financial limitations on a day-to-day basis. So it's sachets are the only thing these people can afford to make ends meet. So another Gen Z respondent said that the alternative is expensive and most people cannot afford a sustainable lifestyle. Again, it's very economic. It traces back from financial limitations. And then lastly, a millennial respondent said that we already got used to it because it is accessible rather, convenient, and cheap. So based from these insights and ideas, we furthered and tried to get more proof on how we'll be able to develop the model. So we did a follow-up online survey with 450 urban community respondents in Metro Manila and focus group discussions and interviews with community members and store owners. So we also want to make it participatory and not just implement a project top down. So we wanted to get to know the thoughts of the community, what is more convenient, what is accessible for them, and what is effective for them. I think we have to understand that what we may deem as effective from our perspective may not be as effective for the community that we're engaging. So we made sure that we are getting their insights and thoughts, particularly on where we have implemented this project. So some of the findings that we were able to get: flexibility over brands. 79% of the respondents would consider buying other brands. So brand loyalty is quite low. And then top reasons for buying sachets because of its affordability and convenience. And then the top 5 sachet products: shampoo, detergent, soap, soy sauce are the condiments, and dishwashing liquid. And 72% were willing to try refill or reuse system. So that gave us kind of like a bit of a hope. And probably just a quick snapshot of how the Kuha sa Tingi business model looks like. So we start with the manufacturing of goods and refilling dispensers. So we partnered with a supplier who's halal certified and who's also ISO certified. And just to ensure that we're not compromising the quality of the product, the same supplier is providing products for top hotel chains and fast food chains in the Philippines. So there is that assurance that the product they are providing are of quality. And then after the manufacturing of the product, it is they are put in a dispenser, and then the dispensers are distributed to the community stores, wherein the consumers can bring their own container, their refillable container to the community stores and then refill their daily commodities. And then the dispensers, when they run out of products, they are returned to the supplier. So a representative from our partner from the Innovation Catalyst will be picking up the dispensers and will be sending it back for sanitation before refilling the dispensers with product again, and then it goes through another cycle. So essentially, it's a circular economy, circular economic model. And this is a sample or a look, not a sample, but a look of an actual Kuha sa Tinge beneficiary with a community store. Again, it's a very simple setup wherein daily commodities can be refilled at a very affordable price. So what are the project results? So throughout the pilot period of 6 to 8 weeks, we were able to divert 56,504 sachets in just 40 stores. I know it's incomparable to the 164 million figure that I shared a while ago, but I think it's a good start given that it's just 40 stores and it's just in Quezon City and San Juan City. And then another important aspect of it is while also looking at the economic while looking at the environmental aspects of it, there is some also economic gains for the project. So our partner community stores reported a 15% increase in profit. And that's very important for them because while they also care for the environment, again, financial limitations is also a great factor, or it's also a great motivation for them to shift to more sustainable means. And then for the consumer savings, based on the suggested retail price, consumers reported an average savings of 201% when they refilled via Kuha sa Tinge. And one key aspect of it is addressing the affordability of their plastic and sachet counterparts. We made sure that the products are competitively priced. Like for a certain volume or liter of a dishwashing liquid, for example, you'll get it at 1/2, 50% or 75% of the price of the branded products of its plastic counterpart. So that's very cheap, which encourage positive reception from the consumers. And then most importantly, in terms of the environmental aspect, we were able to encourage changes in practice. So consumers accepted a bring your own container model, and some stores stopped selling dishwashing liquid in sachets. Out of the products that you were able to sell, so that's dishwashing liquid, liquid detergent, fabric conditioner, and initially body wash, but we eventually swapped body wash with multi-purpose cleaner. The dishwashing liquid is the most sold products. So eventually, the community stores refill the dishwashing liquid and then stop selling the sachet counterpart of the dishwashing liquid. So I think that's a successful indicator that people are really would really shift to reuse and refill given the right factors or given the affordability and the convenience of reuse and refill. So other project results, we were able to prove that reuse and refill is a viable and scalable model in other cities, and Kuha sa Tinge has enabled communities to stop sachets. So using the suggested retail price, stores buying the starter pack, the 4 products initially, can break even or can have a return of investment and just after the 3rd refill of all 4 products. And based on the actual results of the pilot period, stores had an average net profit of $58 US per month and could break even by the 3rd month. So the model needs at least 50 stores in a given service area to be profitable for the suppliers as well. I'm just gonna skip this. But what are the challenges that we encountered when implementing this refill project? The first one is the capital investment. So the initial investment for equipment and bulk supplies for refilling stations can be costly for micro enterprises like your community stores. So what our workaround is was to really partner with the local government units and tap their livelihood programs. So essentially, part of it was funded by the local government units to help start this program and give some beneficiaries free starter kits for this refilling project. And then the second one is the pricing. So we needed to find suppliers that are able to meet the low price point, but at the same time provide quality. So we really had to scrutinize the suppliers that we engaged for this project. The third one is record keeping. We needed we determined that the store owners needed more guidance and support for improved record keeping and monitoring of patterns. And this is very important for us to optimize when we rolled out the project to see if one product is selling better than the other, or how are the consumers actually behaving, or if they are actually bringing their own containers. And then lastly, logistics for scaling. Geography and current infrastructure requires different logistical processes, supply chains, and models. Given that the Philippines is an archipelago, one island community, for example, reached out to us. And the challenge there is like, because it's an island community, it will be hard to find a supplier that will provide the products for the dispensers. In Metro Manila, it's not much of a problem because there are a lot of suppliers here. But one thing that we really have to, moving forward, to look out for is how do we make the logistics also possible for rural communities or island communities. Now, some lessons learned. It's to design models to respond to people's need based on local context. Again, we don't just want to implement the project just because from our perspective, we see it's working. We also want to make sure that it's also effective and beneficial for the communities and our partners. That's why we also want to collaborate with cities and involve community stakeholders. Particularly, we had this idea of having a localized circular economy, wherein the products that will be manufactured will be done within the city itself. For example, we have a potential iteration of the Kua sa Tinge in Muntinlupa City, wherein we'll be engaging the cooperative of the city to produce their own products, like their own soap, dishwashing liquid, etc. And then that same products will be distributed to the stores within that city. So essentially, we're keeping all the business, we're keeping all the processes within the city itself. So less emissions, less difficulty when it comes to logistics and scaling. And then thirdly, reuse and refill models have environmental and social-economic benefits. Again, we also want to highlight the social-economic benefits because it's the reality. It's also important for people and for also them to inspire them to also see the environmental impacts of it. And then lastly, the adoption of investment. The adoption and investment in reuse and refill by corporations are necessary for change. And these are corporations with large research and development and marketing budgets who have the capability to actually come up and scale up this reuse and refill systems. I mean, if Coca-Cola, for example, was able to do it before, what's stopping them to actually bring back that same refill model, circular refill model now? And then just a few more slides to close this, some recommendations in mainstreaming reuse and refill solutions. It's to come up with enabling policies and actions. We had a panel discussion with micro, small, and medium entrepreneurs last week. And this is actually one thing that they've been looking out for. They would want to shift and to switch to reuse and refill or to more sustainable solutions, but there are no enabling policies or support from the government. So it's quite expensive for them if they kind of make the switch. So they hope that they get government support and policies that would make the transition easier. So overall and sector-specific targets for reuse and refill, if this is defined, for example, in policies like the extended producer's responsibility, and then definitions, global standards, and guidelines for reuse and refill practices, measures for monitoring and harmonized reporting, and again, incentives and government support mechanisms to reduce cost and risk in investment. And then lastly, complementary policies, which includes plastic reduction targets. This is evidently absent in the current Extended Producers Responsibility Act in the Philippines. And we hope that we can really see reduction targets for corporations to follow. And then restrictions or bans on single-use plastics, especially on flexible packaging. And then lastly, a strong global plastics treaty. And we were able to get a sense of how the MSMEs are feeling about the global plastics treaty, because they support it because it will provide a framework for them to base their transition on, and would hopefully encourage the government to support MSMEs and businesses in their journey in transitioning to a plastic-free business. And then just to end this, some testimonials from our partners. The mayor from Quezon City, Joy Belmonte, said that this partnership only proves that shifting to zero waste and limiting plastic generation is inclusive, affordable, and accessible to all, including those from all socio-economic sectors and urban areas. One thing that I forgot to mention is that the reason we engage community store owners and not create an entirely separate store for it is because of the idea of just transition. We wanted to include the micro enterprises in this transition to a plastic-free future. We don't want to leave anyone behind, so we want to make use of existing models already, these existing stores present in every community. And then the mayor in San Juan said that communities can lead the way, and we can reduce, if not totally eliminate, single-use plastics. Kuha sa Tinge does just that by doing away with sachets and promoting reuse and refill systems. So not only does this project protect the environment, it also creates livelihood and supports a zero-waste circular economy. And then just some testimonials from store owners and consumers. One of the store owners said that it helped them a lot in increasing their store's income and helped them cover their daily expenses. And after Kuha sa Tinge, she started noticing that her surroundings are cleaner and free from plastic waste. And then lastly, and from Sir Narciso, another store owner, he said that through this project, he was able to learn that plastic waste has become a large problem. And every time we buy sachets, we throw them anywhere. But if we purchase refills, we will be able to avoid plastic altogether. And a consumer that we were able to interview said that she liked the system more because she can buy small quantities at affordable prices without the need for plastic. So it is cheaper, you get more of the product and less packaging. And she encouraged that we should all have our own containers because it lessens both expenses and pollution. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you. Hope you can all build a plastic-free future and help stop plastic pollution.
Thank you so much, Eunille. I think I have a few questions, but I'm just gonna see whether anyone else has a question. Yeah, so I have Siping from C4, another NGO from Malaysia, and she will ask you her question.
Oh, so that you can see me.
Can you hear her?
Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, a really great story about how refill sachet options, I mean, have helped Philippine communities reduce the use of sachets. I just wanted to find out whether if your project also found out whether there's any loyalty to brands. Were any of the consumers questioning the liquid soap? Was it their favorite brands? Did you manage to get them to switch, or even in fact got the brands to supply you the, branded liquid detergents or shampoo?
Mhm. That is actually one of the main challenges. For products like liquid detergent, fabric conditioner, or the dishwashing liquid, the brand loyalty is quite low. So the consumers didn't really mind what brand they're using, as long as we're able to explain that it comes from reputable sources or of quality, and they'd be able to test it out anyway. Because if it's affordability, and it's cheap price, once they test it, they bring it home and then they find it's effective, the habit continues. But the challenge comes from personal care products. Initially, we offered body wash, so it's something that can be used as a shampoo or a liquid soap for your body. And then our findings there is for personal care products, everything that touches your face or your hair, people are much more brand conscious. So these are your shampoos, your facial washes. And this is something that we've been trying to still trying to figure out actually. So that's why for the pilot period, we swapped out the body wash to a multi-purpose cleaner, which is much more sellable to our to the consumers. But having said that, we hope that the project will be able, again, we go back to the goal of the project, which is really to inspire the corporations and the brands to adopt these refilling systems. We don't want, we have no intentions of owning the market, but really just prove the viability of the reuse and refill model in a business context. So while not disclosing any names of the brands that reached out to us, so there are actually few brands that were interested in adopting the reuse and refill model, and hopefully by reading the report and the guidelines and the step-by-step guide that we provided, it will see the light of day. Hopefully.
Thank you so much, Eunille. I have a question. How long did this whole campaign take, like from the right from the beginning till the implementation of the pilot program until like now that we've reached like 1,400 over stores?
So the project actually started back in 2020, the early stages of the pandemic. They started to conceptualize about the project and do the market research, which was quite the more tedious part actually of coming up with this project. So it was launched 2022, if I'm not mistaken. So that's like 2 years in the making of really fine tuning and polishing the details of the project. So by November of 2022, we were able to launch the first pilot in the city of San Juan, and then the following launched in the city of Quezon City. And up until now, the project is continuously running with interested local government units in different cities in the Philippines adopting the model in their own. So our partners from the Innovation Catalyst are still engaged in different cities in Metro Manila, for example, and actually just last July, I believe, in celebration of Plastic Free July, or August, sorry, last August, we partnered again with the foundation that will help expand the Kuha sa Tingi projects in all cities in Metro Manila. So, yep, so from 2020 up until now, the project is still in progress.
That's, that's really, that's really amazing. And the products that you guys are using, they are made in Philippines as well.
Yes, so the products are manufactured in the Philippines. It's the same. The supplier is the one supplying the products for top hotel chains and fast food chains in the Philippines. That's kind of like our spiels when selling the product to the consumer, so they are assured of the quality as well.
All right. Anyone else has any questions? No? All right. Thank you It was truly so inspiring, and I replicated all over Asia and Southeast Asia. So, thank you so much for your time, Eunille and Ibar, if you're still around. It was really nice to have you all on for our event, and I hope to see you all soon again. Bye.
Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Ask Vicky to help us the
Thank you.